Wee bit of a different video for you today, this one. So today we're going to be going through my points for a Warzone wish list, if you will. So things that I'm looking for from Warzone going forward, or if we do get a new version with the release of the new Call of Duty this year. So number 1, separation from the mainstream Call of Duty. So this one's pretty straightforward point, and it really just makes sense in almost every way that I can think of. It kind of already is separated, but it's also not. It's kind of a weird hybrid in that way. What I really mean by this is when I say it being separate, it's been its own game with its own identity without the need to have it linked with whatever the upcoming or current annual Call of Duty theme or focus is. So the way it is currently, obviously it's linked with Black Ops 6. As it currently stands, Warzone just seems to have way too much content, half of it being irrelevant or it doesn't work as intended because it was designed for a different game. For example, the attachment system for Modern Warfare 2, which is way more complicated and it was way more involved. They've tried to adapt that for the Black Ops Warzone current weapon scheme and it just doesn't really work as intended. It's turned all the unique attachments in that game into kind of cosmetic choices basically. Obviously that's not a bad thing at the end of the day, but the way it works currently, it's just convoluted and bloated. It just feels like there's way too much all try to congeal and work together, and it just doesn't really work as intended. On top of that, there's also multiple versions of the same weapons from different games. I think there's like 3 versions of the M4, so just separating it into its own thing where it's got its own guns and its own content would be excellent. Number 2, better servers or better server performance. So this one's a bit of a no-brainer, and to clarify, I'm not a server technician, I'm not a networking expert, but I do know a lot about how it all works from watching videos on gaming network comparisons from the likes of Battle Nonsense, things like that. Currently I believe that the version of Warzone that we're playing right now runs on 20Hz servers. So what does that mean? It means that the communication between the client, aka you, and the server happens 20 times per second. So if you don't know anything about networking or gaming servers or performance, then that does sound pretty good, right? But for a highly competitive shooter like Warzone, and especially for a game where your life matters more because you've only got one life for the most part, and with the insane movement mechanics, the tick rate just doesn't cut it. It's actually really bad. To be fair, it has been a lot more stable since the relaunch of Verdansk in terms of packet loss and other instabilities. The actual performance of the servers, like the server architecture, needs a huge uplift. It's literally only a good thing if it's better, higher tick rate, and I can't think of a reason why it's not already happened other than Activision don't want to invest. Just think about that for a second. If you compare this tick rate, 20Hz, to other highly competitive esports titles like CSGO, which is 64Hz by standard, so over triple, and it can go all the way up to 128. Or if you look at Valorant, for instance, which runs at a strict 128Hz, so pretty much all of the servers that people play on for that game are 128, so over 6 times Warzone servers. Obviously there's different player counts in those games, but it just really goes to show you the difference in priorities for the gaming experience. Better tick rate servers, better performance servers, it would just be huge for everyone involved. Number 3, bring back the military identity. I think this one's is a bit of a minor point, but one that I think is pretty impactful. Call of Duty's kind of drifted away from what it was originally. There was rumours a month or so ago about an option to enable military themed skins in like the settings, but that kind of vanished off the face of the earth, or maybe it was never going to be a thing in the first place. But I feel like 1, it either should be, or 2, there should be less goofy dumbass skins. I'm all for the crossovers with the big franchises or event skins because they're pretty damn awesome. The boys one that they did, was that last year at some point? That was pretty amazing. I think they really nailed that one, to be honest. But some of the skins that come out in the store, you just can't help but think, what the hell were these guys smoking when they came up with this shit? Regardless, it's much more of a minor point, like I said, but I feel like it does have quite an impact on the overall experience. If you go back and look at Modern Warfare 2019, for instance, all the skins in that game were honestly so cool, just realistic, awesome looking military stuff. Give me more of that, please. Bit of a subjective one, but that's my thoughts there. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Number 4, more clarity for weapon customization. We kind of touched on this one a wee bit already, but the current attachment system that we've got in Warzone is just a bit of a clunky mess, let's be honest here. With the current meta, there's not really much reason to use any non-Black Ops 6 guns, which is just a bit disappointing considering the amount of guns and customization that we have available with the 3 games worth of content. Kind of ties nicely into point 1 that I mentioned, where half of the attachments, especially for the Modern Warfare guns in particular, don't actually do anything. You can't even see them properly in the customization menu because it was never designed for this iteration of Warzone. If you take the RAL LMG for instance, when you go to customise like the muzzle attachments, you're just flicking through a list and you can't even see what the muzzle attachments actually look like. It doesn't show you. It's just, oh yeah, oh, that one's doing the same as that one, that one's doing the same as that one, that one's doing the same as that one. But they're all basically the exact same. They're just essentially cosmetic. They all offer the same performance benefits to the gun. If Warzone was its own game with its own guns, its own customization, this would obviously not be an issue. It would bring back player build diversity, it would add negative attachments or negative effects back onto the attachments like it used to encourage unique builds for different scenarios instead of just having the same 5 attachments on every gun to try and make it a laser beam or remove the recoil entirely. Customization should be awesome and fun to use at the end of the day and to craft weapons like the way you used to in the Modern Warfare games, but right now it's just a bit of a mess. It's quite frustrating and it just doesn't really make sense. So I don't mind attachments being cosmetic obviously, but having the same benefits, it just needs tidied up a bit, it just needs sorted out. Number 5, changes to movement and less actiony movement. So this one might be a bit controversial, but I think with the relaunch of Verdansk, they did a pretty damn good job of getting the movement balance right. Might get a lot of flack for this one, but I think it needs toned down just a wee bit more. Honestly, wouldn't be opposed to the removal of Omni movement as well, because to be honest, I don't really think it adds much to the experience other than kind of goofiness. Like, getting used to it takes a while to begin with, and a lot of newer players or people that aren't familiar with that kind of movement experience just get really confused by it. Sure, you can have fun moments obviously with it, diving about left and right, diving backwards, downstairs, things like that. I do like the being able to lie on your back and turn around like that, that's pretty cool, but like I said, it can be pretty hard to grasp for people that aren't familiar with it, and it's also pretty hard to deal with in gunfights when people is just omniing all over the place, like left and right, running back and forward, up and down. It's just a bit goofy. I do wish it was more similar to Modern Warfare 2019, I know I keep mentioning that, but I'd be all for that. The movement there was slower, it was weighty, more impactful, the speed was required, it was there when you needed it, but it wasn't just permanently available. Again, a bit of another subjective one, but let me know your thoughts on that down below. Number 6, better anti-cheat. So this one, obviously, not even fun to talk about. I feel like the current situation for cheating is just way out of hand. Like, you can literally go to the COD Warzone subreddit and literally every second post is just about people complaining about cheaters or clips of people blatantly getting aimbotted and just getting away with it. As well as this, I've encountered way too many suspicious looking kill cams myself. It could just be the cracked aim assist with controller players or cheaters, but at some point it's just really hard to tell. There's obvious ones that are just like, yeah, that guy's definitely cheating, but not everyone makes it obvious, so you don't actually have a clue what the hell's going on with Ricochet. It doesn't seem to be working for the most part. A good suggestion from Josh, who you've seen on the channel before, if you're new here you haven't. He suggested a kernel level anti-cheat, so similar to the way Valorant does it. So it was basically, what that means is it's an anti-cheat that runs on your system as soon as you boot it up. So it stops people from using malicious software when they're not on the game. This system's constantly being scanned for cheating software. Obviously there's privacy concerns with that, but it works. It's confirmed that it works because Valorant uses it and there's pretty much no cheaters on there. League of Legends uses it, which is made by Riot Games, the same people that make Valorant. You hardly get any cheaters there, but that's definitely worth the price of removing cheaters from the game. Call of Duty needs it, and with the size of the game and the amount of money that they have, it isn't really an excuse as to why it's not been done already. Can't think of a reason. On top of that, they're owned by Microsoft, who own Windows, so it would be pretty easy to implement into the Windows operating system. To top this all off, it's kind of hilarious when you see posts from the developers themselves saying that 60% of the reported players were actually just controller players. So people were reporting people using controller because they think they're cheating, when it's literally just a game aiming for them, which is just hilarious and sad at the same time. And this ties perfectly into my next point I want to discuss, which is number 7, input-based matchmaking. This one's probably a lot more important than people would give it credit for, but I'd probably rank it up there with maybe the most important other than the server performance. To clarify, I'm not talking about crossplay here. Crossplay is amazing, it's game changing, and that should never be removed. It's absolutely amazing being able to play with your friends cross-platform. But what I mean by input-based matchmaking is just giving the players to select the option, or making it default by standard, and then you opt out if you don't want to play that way. So what I mean obviously by input-based matchmaking is making keyboard and mouse players play with other players who are doing keyboard and mouse, or controller players versus other controller players. You'd still be cross-platform, but you would just be matched with people that are using the same input as you to make the experience as perfectly balanced as possible, where skill would be the only differential. Imagine that in a game that requires skill. It's the only fair way to play, really. You can try balance controllers against keyboard and mouse as much as you want by giving them the godlike aim assist, but it gets to a point where they outclass keyboard and mouse, or you can simply just let people who are using the same input method play together. This way there's literally no compromises being made other than maybe slightly increased matchmaking times, which in the grand scheme of things is a perfectly fair price to pay. I know for one, I'd happily wait for a longer game if I knew it was going to be a fair experience, and I'm sure most people would as well. Let me know your thoughts on this one down below. So to wrap this all up, I think this is a pretty reasonable list, not exhaustive by any means. Might be slightly unrealistic, as I get the impression sometimes that Activision don't want to properly invest in Warzone despite its current success, and the success it's had over the multiple years it's been running. Especially with the return of Verdansk and the resurgence of players, you think they would want to improve the experience for everyone, rather than just releasing shitty bundles. If it was its own thing, and it was supported well and fully, the same as any mainstream Call of Duty, I reckon it could be a smash success that would rival any other BR that's currently out there. But anyway, that's enough of me rambling. I'll leave you with the rest of the gameplay in the background that has been going on. So if you enjoyed this kind of video, thanks very much for watching. Drop a like if you have enjoyed it, comment your thoughts down below, and subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I'll catch you next one.
One guy left.
One guy? No, 2 guys. Cracked. He has to come to us.
Oh,
Where from?
I can get over there near the hair bell. I'm in cover. I'm in cover.
I won't let you die.
Where from? My god, my heart is actually pounding. I'm reloading.
Sorry, I don't know where from. He's running. He's here.
Hey, get it, bitch!
Nice.
Woo! Oh my god, the row, mate. It's so good. Get wrecked, you black cell bitch. Woo! Mate, that was oh my god, my heart.
So many
That is
cracks
actually
there.
ridiculous. I know. Holy shit. Oh my god, man. This game is a cardio workout.